This is my recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 4, Episode 15, A Birthday Witch. So we start off with Lisa and Kyle planning a birthday party for Ken and Mauricio. Kind of throughout the whole episode, they kept kind of bringing up like, oh, how they're doing this stuff together. We just need to be honest about this. They have to, as co-workers on a TV show, they have to do a certain number of things together. So I'm sure whenever there's like an opportunity to get kind of an event out of the way, they're like, oh good, here we go, here's another event. We'll do a birthday party. There you go. So I don't really think much of it, other than the fact that clearly Lisa and Kyle are at least amicable and they're on good footing, but I don't think it means that they're best friends forever. One of the things I thought was funny in the planning stage was the discussion of whether or not a black tie event, if there were too few people to have a black tie. And I was just like, I've never even occurred to me, like I wouldn't even know to ask that question. Like, is there a certain number that's too few or too many? Or I don't really understand because I've never been to a black tie event, I don't think. Does prom count? So I thought that was kind of a funny little thing. Next we cut over to Brandy's book cover shoot. First off, did you notice that one of the photographers, I recognize him from RuPaul's Drag Race? So clearly somewhere there's a list that if you do a reality show, he's someone you call to do photography. So I need to be put on that list. So if you ever need like an archery or gun expert or sports psych or gemology, like I'll do it. Just put me on that list. If someone knows how to do that, just let me know because I need to be on more reality TV. So just putting that out there. In general, I found the whole photo shoot to be awkward and unfunny, which is sort of my summary of how Brandy has been this whole season. Like, it's just been really uncomfortable. And I feel like she was a lot funnier in the past, and she had a much better like sense of humor, and she laughed a lot more. Whereas I'm finding just a lot of her scenes to be just not that, and so that kind of made me sad. But I will say, her editor I found bizarre, but her editor was right, which is if the book is about dating, the cover should be about dating. The cover should not be about her as this frazzled housewife or mother, because that's not what the book is about. So then we cut over to the thing with Joyce and Carlton, the lunch, where they discuss the curse that Carlton put on Joyce's husband. I don't know how I feel about Joyce. Both my feelings about Joyce and Carlton are kind of up in the air. Joyce has, especially over the past couple episodes, really laid down some hardcore truth. Like, she's just stated things as they are. But I think naturally I am more drawn to Carlton. So it's kind of, I kind of struggle with this. I'm trying to be fair to both ladies, but in this case I feel that Carlton was wrong. Carlton said, Joyce, you go home and you see what happens. Joyce went home when her husband got really sick. It's pretty legitimate to turn around to Carlton and say, okay, you threatened that something bad was going to happen. Something bad happened. Was that you? Do I need to be worried about my husband or my family? And then Carlton's like, how dare you accuse me of that? Well, you kind of opened the door to the accusation when you threatened her. So maybe Carlton would never actually do that. But if you make that threat, it's kind of legitimate if people call you on that. So that's just basically my feelings on that. Now, the next couple scenes are Kim and her daughter, and Yolanda and her daughter, as their daughters kind of leave the nest, going off to college. Kim's getting a tattoo of butterfly on her wrist, and Yolanda's helping her daughter, Gigi, pack. So I thought they were both really sweet scenes. It's just nice to see them be really genuine and open with someone that they care greatly about. It's clear that Yolanda worships her family. I know she gets a lot of flack from the viewers about the way she talks about her husband, but that is their business. If that is how they choose to run their marriage, then that is their choice. No one else has to do it that way. So it's clear that Yolanda just loves her family. And Kim loves her daughter, and they were really sweet scenes. Now let's get to Lisa's party. First off, Lisa, please invite me. I don't know what I'll do. I will love to be there, and I will think you're hilarious, and I don't know what else. I'm obviously sucking up pretty hardcore, but all of her things just seem so fabulous, and it's clear from reading things online that a lot of people are just naturally drawn to Lisa. I guess she just has qualities a lot of us wish we had. So, just putting that out there. The interaction with Sheena between Brandy and Sheena, I I can't really, Brandy's right, this gal slept with her husband. So yeah, but the whole interaction was awkward. And the thing is, Brandy's on a reality show on Bravo, and Sheena's on another reality show on Bravo. So they're going to run into each other. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal when they have to I would hate it. Like, if I was in Brandy's position, I would hate it, hate it, hate it. Like, I don't want I don't want to run into ex-boyfriends. I don't run into girlfriends of ex-boyfriends. I don't want to deal with any of that. But at the same time, if I signed up for the job, I couldn't really be like, how dare Lisa have this gal around. It's not just Lisa. It's also Bravo. It's all these other factors. So, I kind of feel like she's overreacting. And that was the most awkward situation in an episode filled with awkward situations. The entertainment at the party were these gals who walked around and splashed water. So that was really weird. By the way, ladies, I know 2 professional mermaid models in the LA area. So next time you need a mermaid, hit me up. I will give you their names. They're fabulous. And they gave a hard time to the guy about the birthday song. The real birthday song that we sing on birthdays is copyrighted, so that's why restaurants they have their own version. That's why on TV you don't see people sing it, because you pay for it. So I'm not really that surprised that the guy had to write his own happy birthday song, and so he did, and it was kind of weird, but it makes, when I saw it, I immediately knew, oh, copyright. They had to show it, and it was kind of weird, and anyway, but yeah, definitely need some help with your entertainment on that. Let's just cut to the chase. The last 15 minutes or so of the episode, I haven't been able to rewatch it because it was so awkward. The whole thing between Kyle and Carlton was really uncomfortable. Let me just start with Kyle. I don't believe Kyle has these deep hidden motives, that she's thinking of things to say. I just don't think that's her. I don't know that she could if she wanted to. I don't think she's dumb, but I just don't necessarily think that's in her abilities to find these really slight ways. I think she genuinely thought it was Star David. She didn't think about it twice. If she had thought about it twice, she would have said, oh, well, clearly Carlton's Wiccan. It's probably a pentagram. But I don't believe that Kyle did it on purpose. And I think she was trying very hard to have a good evening. Now, Carlton, I think I've kind of summarized the feelings by saying that I think Kyle annoys Carlton. And because of that, Carlton dislikes her with a white hot rage. And everything Kyle does will annoy her. That's not fair. That's not right. But I also can relate to that feeling because I have people in my life that everything they do drives me crazy. Every slight diss from them, every slight comment I just cannot let it go. I can think of numerous people off the top of my head. And I think that's what Kyle does for Carlton. So it's not right, but I can also relate to it enough to where I go, oh, if that was that person and I had to work with them and they made a dumb comment about my tattoo, oh, I wouldn't like that. But it seems that everyone at the table kind of saw through it, kind of saw it for what was really happening. The interviews where people talked about it, I kind of felt like that's kind of how I felt. So it was kind of this nice feeling of everyone agreed with me. Now, the one thing I will say, though, is it wasn't right for Kyle to make a comment about Carlton being anti-Semitic. There's certain kind of accusations you don't make. You don't call someone a liar. You don't call someone a racist or something like that, because it's such a serious accusation, and it's so hard to disprove. How do you prove it didn't happen? How do you prove that you really do think everyone is of equal value? I mean, it's really, really hard, and it really can affect you, and it's an accusation that can really negatively influence you. So I don't think Kyle was right about that. I don't think she really believes it. I think she was just so upset with Carlton's accusation that she kind of came back, and So that's kind of my feelings on that whole thing. The only other thing I have to add from the party, besides how awful that fight was and how I never, ever, ever, ever want to see it again, is that Kyle really did nail Brandy with her assessment about how Brandy puts up walls. So, so there you go. That is my interpretation of season 4, episode 15, A Birthday Wish.